Today we're making a mini strawberry drawstring pouch. It can fit small things like AirPods, lip balm, or keys, and you can find the free written pattern with extra tips at vivcrochets.com or linked in the description. And if you find this tutorial helpful, please leave a like or comment to let me know. Thanks so much, and let's get started. For this project, I'll be using 20 grams of medium weight yarn. I used Big Twist cotton in sage and white, and Capri Eco Cotton in pastel pink. I'll also be using a 5mm hook, which is slightly smaller than recommended so that the stitches are tighter, some scissors, a yarn needle, and a stitch marker. All are linked in the description. First, we'll make the base of the pouch with the main color. I made a pink strawberry already, so this time I'll make a white one. So we're going to make a slip knot, and to make a slip knot, place the yarn over your hand with the tail end at the bottom, hold the yarn with your thumb, then wrap the top around 2 fingers to form an X, then hook it around your pinky, insert your hook under one side of the X, then over and grab the other side and pull it through. Remove your fingers and tighten the knot. Now we'll chain 16. To chain, yarn over and pull through. Again, yarn over and pull through. And repeat until we have 16 chains. Now we'll do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Here's the first chain from the hook, and here's the second. To do a single crochet, insert your hook into the second chain from the hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. Now we'll put our stitch marker into the top of this single crochet. This tells us that this stitch is the first stitch of the round. And we'll do another single crochet into the next chain. So again, insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops. Then we're going to continue doing single crochets all the way across. We should have 15 single crochets, and now we'll work along the underside of the foundation chain. So we're going to rotate this upside down, and we're going to do a single crochet into every chain again. First is the chain we did our last stitch into, so insert your hook into that same space and do another single crochet. And you can carry the loose end if you want. Then in the next chain, we'll do a single crochet. And repeat across. At the end, make sure you don't miss the last stitch. It should go into the same chain as our stitch with the stitch marker. We should have 30 total single crochets at the end of this round. Now we can start round 2, and we're going to be working under these V's on top. Our first stitch of round 2 will go on top of the first stitch from round 1. So remove the stitch marker, insert your hook under the V, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. Then make sure to put your stitch marker into the top of this stitch, since this is now the first stitch of this round. Then we'll move on to the next stitch, insert your hook under the V, and complete a single crochet. And we'll continue doing single crochets all the way around. Once we reach this part here, you'll notice that it's a little tight. It's because it wants to fold, so we can help it by pushing the corners so it folds along the foundation chain. When we reach the stitch marker, it means we're done with round 2, and you should still have 30 total stitches around. Now we can start round 3 by doing our first stitch. Again, remove your stitch marker. Do your single crochet into that stitch. Then remember to place your stitch marker into the first stitch of the new round. And we're going to continue with single crochets all the way around. Also, just a tip, if you want to make sure you don't forget to put your stitch marker back in, do your single crochet with the stitch marker still in. Then take it out and immediately put it into the stitch you just made. We're going to continue making rounds until we have 14 total rounds. Now I have 14 rounds and the pouch looks like this. Our last stitch should be about 2 or 3 stitches from the left edge, and we'll slip stitch to the first stitch of last round. So take out the stitch marker, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook, and tighten it. And that just smooths out the top. And we can cut the yarn since we won't be needing it anymore. And just pull it up a little and tie it like shoelaces so it doesn't unravel. Now we'll sew on the seeds, but you can do the leaves first if you prefer. So we'll cut a long strand of yarn for the seeds. I'll be using pink, and I cut about twice the length of my arm and it was perfect for me. You can make it a little longer if you're worried about running out. Then we'll thread it into our yarn needle and start our first seed. We'll be making little V's starting in the top right. So go into the pouch and poke the needle out somewhere in the bottom right and pull it through, but not all the way. Make sure you leave a little tail on the inside and hold it down so it doesn't get pulled through. Now we'll go into the hole to the left and out the hole at the bottom. And pull the yarn through, but leave a little loop. Then we'll go up through the loop and pull the yarn through. And finally, we'll go back into the hole at the bottom and pull the yarn through. And tug on it to tighten it. Now we can secure the tail we left on the inside by tying it to our yarn. For our first knot, make sure you don't pull it too tight or it'll mess up your seed. Then our second knot, we can pull it tight to secure it. Now we can do our next seed. From the inside, poke your needle out to where you want the top right of the next seed to be. And pull the yarn through. And make sure you're always pulling the yarn taut, not tight, so it doesn't warp the pouch. Then go into the left hole and out the bottom hole. And pull the yarn through, leaving a little loop. Go up through that loop and pull the yarn through, then go back into the bottom hole and pull the yarn through. And here it is again. We're going to continue like this around the bottom half of the pouch, eventually flipping the pouch and doing the bottom half of the other side. Then we can do the top half of the pouch. Now the seeds are complete and we can tie a knot to secure the yarn. To tie a knot, go under a loop with your needle, pull the yarn partway through, then go into that loop and tighten the knot. Now we'll do the leaves. So we'll untie our shoelace knot and put our hook back in. Then take your green yarn and hook it onto your hook and pull it through. Tighten the white yarn and make sure the green tail end isn't too short. Now with the green yarn, chain 4. Here's the stitch our chain is coming out of. Then we'll skip 2 stitches and we'll slip stitch to the next. Again, to do a slip stitch, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook and tighten it. Then we'll chain 4, skip 2, and slip stitch, and we'll repeat all the way around. We should have these little arches with 2 stitches underneath. Once we reach the end, we'll chain 4 again, and there should be 2 stitches left. We'll skip those and slip stitch to the next. And this should be the base of the very first chain 4. We should have a total of 10 of these chain spaces. For the next round, we'll chain 1, and we'll do 4 single crochets into each of these chain spaces. So insert your hook into this first chain space and do a single crochet. And do 3 more until we have 4 in this space. Then we'll move on to the next space and do 4 single crochets. And we'll repeat this around. We should have 40 stitches at the end. We can close the round by slip stitching to the first single crochet we made. Then we can fasten off by chaining 1, cutting our yarn, pulling through with our hook, and tightening the knot. Now we can weave in our loose ends. So thread one of your loose ends into your yarn needle, and to hide it we'll go under the stitches in a row from the inside. Then pull the yarn through, and you can go back under those same stitches to make it extra secure, then snip off the remaining loose end and hide your other ends. Finally, we'll make our drawstrings. I'll make mine in green, and we'll do a slip knot, but this time we can keep the tail end short. Then we'll chain 35, which is about 20 centimeters for me, or twice the width of the pouch plus a couple centimeters. If you want longer strings, you can chain more. Then we're going to cut our yarn short, pull through with our hook, and tighten the knot. And we'll make another identical string of 35 chains. Now we're going to put in our drawstring so it'll close when we pull it. First, make sure your pouch is laying flat. There should be 5 spaces on either side. We'll insert a hook into the spaces on the left end. Then grab the string and pull it through, keeping 1/2 on either side. Then to weave this string in, we'll go 2 spaces over to the right and insert our hook in, then out the space to the left. And pull the string through to weave it over and under the slip stitches. Then repeat one more time, going in through the last space and out to the left, and pull the string through. Then we'll flip the pouch over and repeat it with the other half of the string. And it might be easier if you turn it upside down. Now the string should weave in all the way, and we can double knot the ends together. Make sure to pull the knot down close to the chains. Make sure the string we just put in is sticking out to the left, and we'll insert our hook into the spaces on the left, going over the first string, and pull the yarn through. Then start weaving in the string the same way, but making sure to go over, not under the first drawstring we put in. And if you're turning the pouch upside down to weave the other half of the string, it's flipped, so we're going to go under the first string we put in. Then we can double knot this end as well. And now we can trim the ends so that they're even. And your strawberry pouch is complete. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.